I think one of the biggest things in life is trying to be consistent with things. And the guest I have today, I think, really reiterates how important it is to be consistent and master your craft. Today, I'm joined by Ryan Strong. Ryan is not only with me at EXP in our community that we've built, generating leads that come to us, not the normal 9-to-5 grind of just destroying yourself with cold calling, all these things. While he's been there, done that, and ran marketing agencies, now he's on to great things, building a company called the Channel Junkies with his fellow partners who are changing the name of real estate. And I figured he'd be the perfect guest for you today. Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself, man?
What's going on, everybody? Like he said, Ryan Strong, beat a dead horse with the name, but I am part of the Channel Junkies, where we teach all things video marketing. We master in YouTube for real estate, but we have excelled when it comes to Google, when it comes to website SEO, Instagram Reels, everything like that. I've got quite a bit of experience in a lot of these platforms.
Yeah, man. So where did it all start with you? I know you were in the Army as a medic before, right?
Yeah, I went into the military because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And it's funny, I was telling somebody this morning. And I was smart enough back then to say, you know what, I'm going to choose an MOS or a path that's going to set me up for post-military, because I already kind of knew that I wasn't going to do the 20. And then basically, I knew in boot camp, I was like, yeah, I'm not staying in that long. And then got out after foreign tour, and then went straight into basically nursing school. And then throughout nursing school and being a nurse, you just see it. They are on autopilot and they're like zombies, right? You think, oh, they're literally going through these motions. It's almost like they're just in a Sims game and they're just little characters just doing their thing every day. So right then and there, I knew that wasn't it either, right? And my parents are both entrepreneurs. So my biological father, he is restaurant industry. My mom was in that industry as well. Now she owns a business, and I've done her marketing as well, for her, like Facebook ads and stuff like that. So her business has now exploded. In 2019, their average sales was like 23,000 a month average. She just hit over 135,000 just this past month in her sales.
And where are they located?
So, say again?
What market are they in?
No, my mom's business is an online like nail polish business.
Nice.
Different, totally
nail
different
polishes
industry.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's almost like a distribution. Really, she doesn't even really have her own products. She doesn't have the time for it at the moment, but it's just more of like a distribution thing. But yeah, their sales have gone up big time.
Nice.
Yeah, so started my own agency at first. I did marketing for attorneys, tutoring businesses. I've helped my brother start up his mobile detailing business, which is doing really well now, like out the gate. Just knowing where to start, right? It wasn't Facebook ads, it wasn't Instagram, it was Google and Google Business. Right out the gate, he had contracts with local Land Rover dealerships, Porsche dealerships, stuff like that. And then numbers of businesses, but real estate was one of those businesses. And I was doing the marketing, and I had my own little team, and we were doing the ads and stuff and generating leads for teams from California to Florida up to New York. Built this whole agency and ran myself thin because I didn't dial into one agency, right? Oh, I'm sorry, one industry. And then finally I literally took a hit. I was like, I can't do this. I fired clients and niched into real estate. And then one of those ended up being the top teams in my market in Hawaii. So I was already there, like doing all their marketing and whatnot. And this team does a lot of transactions, a lot of volume, a lot of business.
Got it.
The lead was on Shark Tank, and they have sponsorships with like Barbara Corcoran, tons of big names, right? And they still wouldn't listen to me. But then I ended up getting my license and joining that team. I was already generating the business, so I was like, well, I can learn the other side and be an agent pretty quick, right? So that's that's how I got into real estate.
What were some of the pitfalls you found with starting a marketing agency that hit you in the beginning?
You see all these people online telling you how easy it is. It is not easy by any means. Just like in anything, in real estate, it's like, all right, well, how do I get my first client? Right?
Fair point. And how did you generate some of those early clients in that business?
A lot of them were local businesses. And I was reaching out to local businesses and people who I thought were sort of on the right track, but that needed some help.
Gotcha.
And so it started out that small. But then when it really took off was I started putting my results and my knowledge out on TikTok when it was kind of in its first swing of virality. And I ended up having a video go extremely viral. Well, nearly 500,000 views or something like that. Account blew up. And then I had businesses from all over the United States reaching out to me left and right. And then I would do lives. Like I would do lives on my iPad and I would draw on my iPad, like, this is how you need to run your Facebook ads. And like, I can tell you like how many people are on my like even now when I open it up and I don't post on there anymore, I still have hundreds of notifications of people asking questions. It's like, wow. So that's kind of how it took off nationally, but I did start locally.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So one of my initial clients was he used to be Mr. USA back in 2003, and I was helping him in the fitness industry.
Nice.
Yeah, and so he actually is the owner and runs 2 bodybuilding shows back in Hawaii, and I did the marketing for his shows, his, clients, stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
Nice. So when you got your license, were you kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of both industries, trying to make both work at the same time? And then what caused you to just kind of fully go in? I guess you never fully did, but what caused you to kind of push harder with real estate?
Well, I decided to niche into real estate because I noticed that the majority of my clients that were taking over were in real estate. So I really had this great understanding of generating leads in business. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of was working both. The agency, I did have a VA team and everything, and everything kind of ran itself. We would still meet and stuff like that. But I said I was spreading myself too thin. So I dialed it all down, and I was still running the agency. And then I, for the most part, got rid of it and just focused on real estate. Because I really, it comes from some people like Gary Vee, for instance, and it resonates well with me because this is how I am. Is I don't talk about anything if I don't do it myself.
Yep.
That goes back to being in the military for both of us. For me, I don't tell anybody that I'm in charge of to do something that I won't go out there and do myself.
Makes sense.
So, I dialed it in real estate on that team and really like consumed all this training. I'm watching YouTube videos of like these guys who are just professional cold callers, learning the DISC assessment, which I thought at the beginning was a joke. And then like really that thing is super important to understand how you communicate. And I just dialed in, man, because that's how I am. Once I fall into something, like I go hard.
No, that's a good point. I used to think DISC was stupid too. And then now here I am hiring people and I'm like, oh, this is actually really important. Yeah. Even had to let someone go the last couple of weeks. And I really sat down and I was like, oh, I'm like, I can see where the pitfalls were in their personality that should have changed it. Everyone has a different experience when they join. And I know you've changed brokerages since that time. What were some things that caught you off guard? Like once you started to get your feet established, you're like, okay, I have a good system down of how I'm doing this. What caught you off guard? I think everyone has those things in the beginning. They were like, I feel like this could be better. What was that for you?
Being on the team. being on the team. I think teams are a great way for agents to start. But the scary thing about teams for new agents is the teams don't teach you, for the most part, not all teams, but a lot of teams typically won't teach you a lot of the things that they're doing to generate business because they just want you to focus on the management of the clients and getting the closing table aside, right? And I tell anybody that wants to work with me now or anything like that, I say, look, we need to have a clear understanding of how this industry is. There's 2 sides to it. You divide it right in half. There's one side that is marketing, generating the business. And then once you have the business, it's managing the clients, getting the closing table. The teams don't want you to know this side because they don't want you to leave because you know you can do it on your own.
Right.
I already knew how to do it. So it wasn't really much to me. But when I caught that, I was like, nobody in this office knows how to generate any business. They are solely reliable on the team bringing in money, or I'm sorry, spending money and bringing in leads, phone numbers, emails, and a name, which who knows if it's accurate, right? Yeah. But yeah, that's when I started seeing that. One of the other things for me was longevity. Because my ultimate goal is freedom, and for me, that's being able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, with who I want.
Yeah.
Time and money is never a factor. So that's my chase. And being in that office, they're like, "You never come to the office." I'm like, "I didn't know it was a requirement." Yeah, yeah. If you want more leads, you need to come to the office and cold call for 3 to 4 hours. I was like, I have 2 kids. I have a family. This is not why I got my license.
Yeah.
So I would do it from time to time, but in that office environment, and this is like nothing against anybody who's older in or seasoned in the in the industry.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking to my left and right, and I see dudes that are 60 years old and they're still on the dialer chasing business, I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
For sure, man.
Sundays for 4 hours, like there's got to be a better way.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I got the same thing. It's like your family needs to understand that you got into this industry. It's like, no, my family doesn't need to do anything because I'm in control of my family. Don't tell me what to do with my family.
That's the stuff the military says.
I know. Do you think a new agent should join a team, or do you think it's possible in this industry, especially with like our model that we're with EXP? Do you think it's possible for someone just to find the right group to avoid that team loophole that a lot of people?
I think ultimately it boils down to how dedicated you are.
Yeah.
And how much work you're willing to put in to learn and grow. Teams are a great way to start, but then you become reliant on that. Some do. But I think if somebody did join, for instance, EXP, for instance, right?
Yep.
Even when I was leaving KW and I hadn't even been an agent a year, I went to an open house for a client. And I noticed that the 2 agents there were EXP and one was a broker, right?
Yeah.
And I started asking her about EXP, and immediately like she turned into recruiter mindset, right? And telling me about stocks and stuff. I'm like, that don't do anything for me. Like, because my mind is way past that.
So you're telling me they actually need to be concerned. You can't just be like, what do you mean? You don't want to just join because of stock options? No.
Yeah. So she told me straight up, she said, you haven't been in the agent long enough to be able to succeed on your own. I love when people say shit like that to me. I love it.
Yeah, put it in your pocket, bro. You got to save it for later. I got a whole plethora.
I'm the youngest of 3, and I love my brother. He used to beat my ass every day when I was a kid, right? Yeah. So I thrive off of the chip on the shoulder kind of thing. Of course, and I love when people say that. And so, obviously I didn't join her. Of course. But I do think it goes back to how dedicated, motivated, and willing are you?
No, that makes sense. Well, a couple things I wanted to move into. So I'll address this one first. I know it's gonna be a big topic. Obviously, you eventually came across YouTube and generating leads through YouTube. 2 questions. One, how did you first come across that? And the second part of that is, what has it done for you in your business?
So I know YouTube's always been like a gold mine. It's just a matter of figuring it out.
Right.
And when I started my Living in Hawaii channel, I was doing all the wrong things.
Happened.
So it's like, man, somebody has figured this out, right? Somebody has.
Always.
At the same time, because I was doing it for that team too.
Gotcha.
And they wouldn't listen to me fully for a lot of things. But at the same time, with COVID and everything, Clubhouse was a big thing. But I was already like halfway out the door, only 3 months into being on this team. So I've been doing my homework and stuff on Clubhouse, talking about, things, building up, connections and networking there. Ended up being in a room with Jackson and Jesse and hearing, what they got going on. And I was like, that sounds wild. And then I started doing more homework about EXP, which I didn't even know they were at EXP at the time. After talking with them on the first Zoom, and then I started diving
following them before they joined. I think it was around that time that they just joined. I don't think they were the EXP originally when they started to get on podcasts and stuff.
No, they weren't. They weren't, and they had brokers and stuff telling them the same stuff. Like, this isn't going to work. Real estate can only be done one way. This which is my way, whatever. Yeah. So I ended up interacting with them, and then I started doing more homework, and then I started doing more homework too about who to join at EXP, because kind of like you said, I think who you surround yourself with does matter. I really do. Yeah. And, they say you are who you hang out with. There's the nutshell version of whatever the other phrase is. And Yeah. So I actually interviewed 6 people before I came to EXP, and then ended up joining Jesse and Jackson because of, again, the long-term vision.
Yeah.
This thing is going to keep working for me, and I don't even have to put any money into it. I just have to make videos.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the second question?
What has it done for you? So we'll
Holy
break that
shit,
down,
what has it done
especially
for
for
me?
those. You're good. So I totally get it. I'm just as bad, dude. It's like squirrel, and you just disappeared. Like, I don't know where the heck we were freaking talking about. So
Yeah.
with you, for those who don't know, with YouTube, obviously there is a system that we follow, especially with our group, OGs, the originals, and over time you build up a channel. So breaking down what it's done for you, because I know what it has. How long did it take you to actually start to see results from your channel? We'll start with that. Because I think a lot of people get into it and they expect an immediate result, and that's not always the case.
You know, in coaching now, you see it, right? I've seen over 70 channels at this point or something like that, and started quite a few for other people. But what has it done for me, man? It changed my life. Not for one, it's kind of weird when people get on Zoom with you and they're like, "Oh, I feel like I'm talking to somebody famous," and you're like, I don't feel like that at all.
Oh my God, it's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best, man.
Yeah. It's a good feeling though. But then, you know, on these calls too with people, they just kind of like love your videos, love how you know, the information you put out. They're giving you all the feedback, and it's like you see that you're starting to build your tribe, right? But as far as business goes, again, flip the whole industry on its head, just like they have done in 10 different states, right? And then it's like every single day that an email, a text message, or a phone call comes through with somebody interested in relocating to the market and wanting to either rent or buy, right? And filtering all that out. But yeah, lead generation has become super easy, is I'll say that.
Yeah.
As far as results, because I remembered that question. As far as results, I got my first reach out, I want to say a month into the channel, but I didn't actually have my first closing for 6 months. It was dry for 6 months. And I knew that because I knew what I was building.
Yeah.
I didn't have the same mindset that you mentioned earlier with a bunch of people that we work with now who are, where's my leads? And you know, as AJG Wentworth, where's my leads? It's my leads, and I want them now. It's like it doesn't. I
tell people, I'm like, well, you better get on the phone for sale by owners. I'm like, we're building long term. I'm like, but you have to have a long term mindset.
It is such a pipeline game.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, even 1 month alone this year, I think I have, and we'll see how many end up closing for next year. They're all qualified. But I mean, I at least have 10 lined up just from 1 month in January, and they're all next year or end of this year. And it's just,
well, where we're at now with the market and everything, we have 8 active shoppers, right?
It's crazy.
4 of those over $1.2 million budgets. It's just, they're kind of on the fence, right? And stuff like that. But
the market still dictates it.
It does. But, you know, Jackson down there in Houston at the time of this, right? They have over 20 in escrow. I was talking to my buddy in Tampa yesterday. He was telling me he's had over 200 reach outs since the beginning of the year, and he has 20 in escrow right now.
Damn, I only had like 30 reach outs too. I got to step on my game, man. Channel's like just hit a year though, so
Don't. I mean, his channel has over 10,000 subscribers, so
yeah, it has its time, man.
He dominates his market.
Do you think it's even worth it for an agent to start? Because I think everyone can look at their market and see 1,000 agents that are doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I can say the same thing, but somebody might like how you said it better than me and think I'm a moron.
That's true. I mean, I like to say I'm knowledge. I research enough to know how to do something well, to start mastering it by doing it. But I stay ignorant enough to not care what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
You have to. And we see it with some of the coaching clients too. They just get so caught up in the competition. I'm like, the competition, the people that use you, they're not using them.
Yeah. I can't even tell you the last time I looked at like my market's search terms to see what other people are doing. Yeah. I don't look at it because I know at the end of the day, the guy that I think I told you this, but I sat with him in his garage and his family. We had beers. He's the other guy that has a channel that performs well. Right. And we had that same conversation is, I bet you have people that call you and say that guy is an idiot. Like, you start laughing like, yeah. We're making the same content.
Yeah. No,
so
that's
they
true,
pick who
man.
they like. That's the beauty of it is you can have 20 different agents call you to help you buy a house, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to YouTube and somebody's doing their homework, they are choosing you. You've already won. There's no sales involved after that.
I know. I mean, I'm sure you've had the same people, but like I had one that's in shopping for homes right now, and the guy, like, since he reached out in December, every week was sending me an updated picture of his tattoo. And he's like, all right, dude, it's all done, man. We're bringing the RV to Orlando, but they're above average price point buyers, right? It's just
how'd that tattoo come along?
Like we were friends, man. It's like we were friends. And I know I'm doing a lot of this hopping around different markets and, being able to kind of live a lifestyle where we can take trips and do stuff like that. Are you actively still doing any homes and appointments with that channel?
I still do Zoom calls. The agent we have is younger and
Gotcha.
he his communication skills aren't where they need to be, and we're working on it.
Yeah.
So I'm still on the Zoom calls, but pretty much after the Zoom call, like I'm out of it.
I think a huge question, especially I know some of the people in like our downline stuff that have been asking this question lately, is how did you find someone who, because I feel like a lot of agents are afraid that they're going to find that agent to step up to take those buyer clients, and they're just going to take their clients. How did you build that relationship from the beginning?
I'm a very honest person right out the gate. And so I let him know where we stand. You do not own my channel. You do not own anything like this. Talked about the business being two different sides and whatnot, where and what I need him to do, straight up out front with everything. And then he was on board. And now he wasn't the first agent that I reached out to. I had met and kind of showed a few other agents who had been in a little bit longer what we had going on. And they either thought it was too good to be true or they just didn't see the vision. But yeah, I actually found him in EXP Workplace. He messaged in Workplace. He was a younger agent. He's like, can anybody help me get any business, any clients at all? And I was like, okay, this kid that has the guts to come in this group and say that first is one thing. And then obviously he sounds motivated. So let me reach out to this guy. And then I did. And like I said, he's a hustler, man. He's just got to work on his communication.
Hey, we all got something we got to work on, man.
Yeah. But like finding, we have an agent down in San Diego, right? We have, I already have an agent in the Las Vegas area as well. And that channel is hopefully coming probably by end of April, beginning of May.
Nice.
Yeah. Again, I'll be on the Zoom calls, but after that,
how crazy is that you've built something and in reality you're just kind of servicing it to a point. Like you still have the overall vision, you're still leading, you're still flying the plane. But you never think you'd be in a position so fast relatively that you'd be out of kind of production really in that way.
I think that goes back to the first thing is I always find myself ending up being in some sort of leadership position, just the way I am. Whether it was on the sports teams, being the captain, being in the military and ranking fast.
Assistant coach for your son's T-ball team. We talked about that before the call. Yeah.
Senior official somewhere, whatever it might be. I know that's how things usually trend for me. The second part was surrounding myself with the right people, like we talked about. So I surrounded myself with two dudes who have already done this in 10 states. All I have to do is follow the blueprint. To me, that's too easy.
Isn't it? But it's not though, because doing the work is always the hardest.
That's the easiest fucking part for me.
Well, okay, for sure, man. But for most people, that's the hardest part is actually doing it because they get overwhelmed.
It is. They don't want to. That's the thing is execution, man. Are you going to execute? Yep, I do. Being
a leader, actually, that sparks a thought because it's so easy for like people like us to just do it. Do you have to see yourself dial back sometimes when you're like, why? Like when you look at your team, people are like, why aren't you like? Don't you just get it? Like, how do you work through that? Because I know it's probably come up.
I was listening to Jocko Willink's book, Stream Ownership. Really good book. Him and Leif, right? And there's a chapter in there where they talk about before you go down to the team and start yelling and being angry or whatever it is, you got to look in the mirror first.
Yep.
Why did this happen? So that's what I've been doing a lot lately, especially with the team.
Ownership. Yeah.
Why did they not know how to do this?
Yeah.
That's my fault. Looking at it from this is my fault that I didn't make this clear enough for you, right? I didn't ask you to sign off that you understood, right? Or I didn't create the SOP beforehand, things like that. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately, instead of just getting, why aren't you grasping this concept? It's like, I'm not getting it to your level to make it easier. That's on me.
For sure. And I know that I think that's one of the cool things with you guys at Channel Junkies. And for those who don't know, that's the company that's been created that if you want to learn anything about generating leads in real estate, that's definitely the place to go to. Obviously, our partners at EXP get it for free. They get the masterclass for free. But you guys have actually started about to unveil, if you haven't already. I mean, you guys got a whole line of how to use video to generate leads coming, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So Channel Junkies University Premium, it's for all video marketing on every platform that is relevant anyway. For generating business, not just the platforms themselves though, but like if you want to use a GoPro, we're giving you everything you need to know about your GoPros, set it, forget it settings. Same thing with phones, vertical, landscape, YouTube, like I said, everything, man. It's teleprompters, everything that, and then again, as I said, this is all things that we've done. I'm not going to tell you how to do something that I haven't done myself. So
and that's, I think anyone can appreciate that. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are trying to, it's like economy gets tough. You see coach. I don't know how many times you open up Instagram, and I swear every story after every other story is an ad by someone telling you that they're a coach that's going to help you do something in real estate. It's like the hot thing now. And even with me in the progress of creating a system that I just followed in my life, the only thing we can do is only preach what we do. But what sets you guys apart from, I know there's a handful out there that are like YouTube for real estate, but a lot of them I don't think dive as deep, but like on the surface level, like what do you think sets you guys apart? Aside from, I think that you do what you preach, I think is the biggest thing. But
I think collectively, from the three of us, I don't think anybody else in the real estate industry has done what we've done or accomplished what we have been able to accomplish when it comes to all of the marketing side of things, right?
Yep.
So I think that's really what separates us apart. So when you look at, not throwing shade, any of these other guys, Serhant, Tom Ferry, whatever it might be, whoever's coaching it might be, now they're leveraging their name, right, to get people. But even those people, and Tom Ferry's never sold a house, but even those people haven't been able to do what we've been able to do.
Yeah.
Collectively.
When you guys, like all of you, like you guys have started multiple channels and they've all done very well. I think a lot of these coaches have one good channel and they're like, oh, this is enough. I'm now a master at this craft. But in reality, I mean, and what's funny is I think all three of you are like it's just three of you that are actually partners on this company right now. You guys all each bring your own expertise. Obviously, I get to see the inner workings. I see everything that's going on behind the scenes to a point. But I think you all bring like a little piece of the pie. It's hard when just one person comes to the front because no one is good at everything.
No, who was it? Is Elena Cardone said this on stage about Grant? Actually, it was a really good quote though. She said, "You can do anything, but you can't do everything."
It's true.
It's like,
yeah, even right now, I mean, if it involves an admin task, I promise you, my wife could crank through it. Like even when it comes to taking any tests, like I'll procrastinate like crazy. Like you could tell me to go sit down and have a listing appointment. I'll be like, yeah, easy. Like, 5 minutes to get the details together. Yeah, that's fine. I'll go figure it out and go do it. Stresses her out. But when it comes to the other side, it's true. You got to find the other half.
Yep.
It's crazy,
for sure, man.
How do you see the industry going? I think I don't care about, I could care less. People want to talk about the market. I don't care about that. The market's going to do what it's going to do. But how do you see the industry going under the pressure? I mean, do you see agents leaving? Do you have anyone that's been partnered with you that's just like, hey, I'm out. I'm done?
No, I haven't had anybody partner with me, but I do foresee a lot of agents getting in that. You know what I mean? People got into something that looked easy when the market was crazy, right? I do see a lot of agents dropping out because.
How do you see your production doing? Have you seen a hit on your channel just overall?
No, we still get the calls, texts, and emails every day for my main channel. But like I said, a lot of buyers are on the fence. right? Unless we can find that scenario where we can get them down to a 5 or something like that. So the reach outs are still coming, still have appointments every week. It's just a matter of the market. So managing those emotions and expectations.
It's always the hardest part because people are always very emotional. I can be very dry. I just look at them and go, oh, this seems like the logical thing because 1 + 1 = 2. And unfortunately, that's not the case with most people. But
no,
not at all, man. But that's awesome. Hey, you got started. I think the first time I saw you was with Google My Business. Do you think that's still an effective way to build business? Because I know they've changed a lot of their guidelines in the last year and a half regarding that.
Mm-hmm. I do. We get calls from that too, right? It's the organic way of getting yourself in Google up the ranks. Yeah. A lot of people, or a lot of agents anyway, don't realize that you are a local business, and that's what Google Business is for. Right. People are searching realtors near me, realtors in my city, right? Top agents in my city. And if you nurture this thing, you're going to rank, all right, naturally at the top. What a lot of people are already picking up on, so because local service ads or LSAs are the shiny object, right? A lot of people already know when you search any product or service in Google, your top 2-3 results are going to be an ad. It says sponsored right there. A lot of people are already picking up the fact that these agents now that have these green verified check marks or whatever for Google at the top, they're already picking up that they're paying for this, right? So when they scroll down and they see something that's ranking naturally, organically with all these reviews, then you're battling with some of the top reviews, but at the same time, you're still going to put yourself in you're putting your hat in the ring, essentially.
Right. It's kind of like anything. Yeah, go all in. And I think, and this is what's funny, I think about YouTube, I think people don't talk about too much, is when you start having a main lead source where people see you, they look at everything. Like my random Facebook business page, which I don't do much with, if I'm honest. I have more Instagram and stuff going on than that, and YouTube. But I get massive views every week because people are seeing me on YouTube and they're like, oh, let's go here. And you Google my name and now it just pops up everywhere. Even my LinkedIn gets like almost 100 views a month. And it's just like, it's crazy how like you just have to eventually, which is why obviously I think using virtual assistants is great, because you eventually get to the point where you have to be able to manage all of that stuff going on. Have you seen that as well? Like everything just starts picking up like crazy because people start saying like, who is Ryan? Like, who is this guy? Like, where is he? What has he done?
Well, my call to action is reach out however you're comfortable. Yeah. I want people to feel comfortable. So however you're comfortable, if that's Instagram, shoot the DM. If that's a text, send the text, right? But I've seen it on my Google Business stats, and I've seen it on a couple other people that will like let me look into their Google Business or ask me to. And if they have a channel that is working, a YouTube channel, then usually their name is somewhere in their rankings for how people are finding them in Google.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it happens a lot. And so my buddy in Tampa who hasn't put a lot of effort into his Google Business profile, his name is the top search result, and he's got like 2 reviews on there, but he's got over 10,000 subs on YouTube. So people are obviously seeing him on YouTube and trying to learn more about him.
Jesus, I have to change that over. I haven't started one for Florida. I really should. I've been bad. I'm cutting off California though. I don't even want it anymore. Google yelled at me, and I never started my one up in Florida because they were like, "There's 2 of you," and then I got mad. I got upset, but I gotta switch it.
I mean, the whole
it's so true, man.
Not California.
Creating a website was one of the best things. I don't do blogs too much on it because I just don't have the time for it, and I don't want to make it. But like, man. When I saw you do it first, I'm like, man, maybe I should have like a small little website for this. See, that thing gets like over 100 people a month, or just going there and just looking at the resources.
Yeah, it's
crazy. I think. Do you think agents kind of becoming more of like the center of like information is better?
Yeah, I just had a coaching call with somebody else earlier, and I was explaining to him, you got to think about it. When people, like for instance, his YouTube was about a property that they have as a listing. Yeah. The thumbnail is the picture of the house and the price. When people see the title of this video, this thumbnail, they're not coming here to see you. And that's why your retention sucks, because you're taking up too much time, and you can see in the graph that they are coming to see the house. So when it comes to it, in order to get in front of the lead generation aspect of it, you got to take yourself out of the picture. What do people want to know, right? Content marketing, right? So what do people want to know? They want to know information about this community, about this city. They want to know all this information. And then, oh, hey, look, it's me, and I'm the one that knows everything there is to know. I'm the local expert, right? That's what they need to focus on is, like you said, the information is where it needs to be at. You need to be the master of that information.
Makes sense. So now that you have like YouTube established, you have your lead generation sources, like where do you think for the real estate side of it, where do you think your next step is? Do you think it's nurturing what you already have? Like, how are you trying to grow what you've already established now that they are bringing in? Is it just trying to optimize? Like, where's your brain going with that?
All over the place.
All over the place. Squirrel, man.
Oh, yeah. I do not think small. Never have, never will. Nurturing what I have now and whatnot. I say it goes back to making sure I do have the right SOPs in place and whatnot, making sure systems, processes, pieces are in place so it can run how a well-oiled machine, how it needs to run, right? But once I know, like I've already been thinking about the next steps, but once I know that it's there, then I'm off to the next thing.
Makes sense. Not going to dwell too long, fast. Just ready to move on.
Yeah, I move fast, man.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, I know you got to run, man. I appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing this little bit of information, man. If someone wants to reach out, what are the best ways to get a hold of you?
However you're comfortable. Well, I mean, if somebody, Ryan at channeljunkies.com is my email. You can reach out if anybody wants to reach out.
Awesome, man. I love it. And then I'll put everything down below. So if you want to reach out, his email will be down below. I'm also going to put the website of Channel Junkies, because if you are looking to do anything that involves video and real estate, that is going to be your one-stop shop to find everything. I can preach for it. I've done it. It's changed my life immensely. I mean, nothing like building your business when I wasn't even living in the state at the time, across the country, and I still was able to get deals done. It's crazy. It's insane what it's able to do for you. So, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. And for everyone who's watching, I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.